Somewhere right now, a baby is staring at a ceiling fan like it just solved the universe. That baby is laughing. That baby is learning your face, your voice, your smell. That baby will never remember any of it, not 1 second. And neither did you. You had a first laugh. You had a first taste of food that wasn't milk. You had a moment when you first heard your own name and understood it was yours. All of that happened. All of that shaped you. And all of it is gone, sealed off in a vault your own brain refuses to open. This isn't a flaw. It isn't a glitch in your wiring. It's something deeper, something stranger, something your brain did on purpose. Scientists call it infantile amnesia. It's the reason almost no one on Earth can recall anything before the age of 2 or 3, and why memories before age 7 are patchy at best. For a long time, researchers assumed babies simply couldn't form memories yet. The brain was too new, too unfinished. Case closed. Except it isn't closed. Because babies do remember. Just not in the way you think. In the 1980s and 1990s, developmental psychologist Carolyn Rovi Collier ran a series of experiments that quietly broke the old assumption. She tied a ribbon from an infant's ankle to a mobile hanging above the crib. Kick your leg, the mobile moves. Babies as young as 3 months old figured this out fast. They kicked. They learned. And weeks later, when she brought back the same mobile, those babies remembered the trick. They started kicking again, immediately, without being taught a second time. So the memory was there. It just wasn't the kind of memory you could ever access as an adult. Here's where it gets strange. Your brain has more than one memory system, and they don't come online at the same time. There's procedural memory, the knowledge of how to do something. Riding a bike, walking, recognizing a face. This system is up and running almost from birth. Then there's episodic memory, the memory of a specific moment in your life, tagged with a time and a place. Your 5th birthday, your first day of school, the morning your dog died. This is the system that builds your personal story, your sense of, this happened to me on this day in this place. Episodic memory needs a part of the brain called the hippocampus, and the hippocampus, when you were born, was nowhere near finished. It was still growing new neurons at a staggering rate, restructuring itself almost daily. Imagine trying to file paperwork in an office that's being demolished and rebuilt around you every single night. Nothing stays where you put it. Neuroscientist Paul Franklin tested this directly. He studied infant mice and infant memory and found something most people would never guess. The early brain isn't bad at making memories. It's too good at making new neurons, and those new neurons keep overriding the wiring that the old memories were stored in. The very thing that makes a baby's brain brilliant at learning language, faces, and movement in record time is the same thing erasing yesterday's experience to make room for today's. You weren't broken. You were under construction. But there's a second culprit, and this one is less about biology and more about language. A memory you can talk about as an adult usually has a story shape, a beginning, a middle, an end, a sense of self at the center of it. I was there, I felt this, I did that. Building a memory like that requires language, and it requires a sense of I that's separate from everyone else in the room. Psychologist Catherine Nelson spent decades studying how children develop a personal narrative. Her research showed that kids don't really start forming memories that survive into adulthood until they can talk about their experiences in story form, usually somewhere between 3 and 4 years old, often shaped by the conversations they have with parents. A mother who says, "Remember when we went to the beach and you cried about the seagull?" is doing something profound. She's handing her child a structure, a beginning,
a middle, an end. Without that structure, the experience floats. With it, the experience can be filed away and revisited for life.
So your earliest memories weren't lost because nothing happened. They were lost because there was no story yet to hold them. Think about what that means. You spent roughly the first 1,000 days of your life crawling, tasting, falling, laughing, being held, being scared, being soothed. And none of it survived as a memory you can replay. And yet every bit of it built the person sitting here right now. This is the part that should make your stomach turn slightly. Because if memory shaped you, and you can't access most of your early memory, then a huge percentage of who you are runs on instructions you'll never be able to read. Why do certain smells make you suddenly calm for no reason you can explain? Why does a particular tone of voice make your shoulders tense before your conscious mind even processes the words? Why does a song from a decade you barely remember bring tears you can't quite justify? That's the procedural and emotional memory system, the one that came online first, still running in the background. It learned the rules of safety and danger before you had words for either. It just never filed a report you can read. There's a flip side to all of this, and it's the part that should change how you think about your own kids or your own childhood going forward. Just because a child won't remember an event doesn't mean the event doesn't matter. Researchers studying early attachment, building on the foundational work of psychologist Mary Ainsworth, found that the patterns formed in infancy, whether a baby learns the world responds to its cries, whether comfort reliably shows up, get baked into something called an internal working model. Not a memory you can describe, a blueprint you can't see, quietly shaping how you trust people, how you handle being alone, how you react when someone you love goes quiet for too long. You don't remember being held, but your nervous system does, in its own wordless dialect. So why does this matter to you today, as an adult who can remember plenty? Because the same machinery is still working. You are, right now, building memories you won't keep. Most of today will be gone within a year. Most of this month will dissolve the way your second birthday already has. Your brain is still choosing, mercilessly, what gets to stay and what gets erased to make room for tomorrow. That should feel terrifying. Strangely, for most people, it ends up feeling like relief. Because it means the bad days don't have to last forever in sharp detail. It means the brain that erased your first 3 years on purpose to make room for who you'd become is the same brain quietly editing your story right now, in your favor, whether you ask it to or not. You didn't lose your earliest years to nothing. You traded them for everything that came after. The crying, the kicking at mobiles, the first steps no one had to remind you how to take. All of it got converted into something with no name and no timestamp, but with a permanent address inside the way you move through the world. You'll never get that footage back. You were never meant to. Somewhere right now, a baby is staring at a ceiling fan like it just solved the universe. In 30 years, that baby will be an adult who can't remember a second of it, and will be made completely out of everything it just forgot.